Hey, welcome to Fishing with Joe. I'm your model Amber, and on today's show, you've got to slow it down if you want the fishing to pick up. Fishing with Joe, you've got to love it.
I noticed on one of the dock posts, somebody had left one of their baits. Good one. Bad they didn't have one of those venom twitch worms. That does twice what those other worms will do in these situations. That is a Potomac River big boy right there.
For over 100 years, R&R Bait and Tackle has been selling the best bait in the Buckeye State. Our minnows, crawlers, and craws are guaranteed to catch fish or die trying. We've got your favorite lures at the price you need. We know where the fish are biting. Open 7 days a week, all summer long. Visit R&R and see why we're the best in the Buckeye State.
Hello and welcome to today's episode of Fishing with Joe. Now, you can kind of sense that my voice is a little different. That's because I'm getting over a cold, but the show must go on. Now, in today's show, we will be heading all the way to Washington, D.C. and we will be largemouth bass fishing on the mighty Potomac River. So, you are going to enjoy today's episode of Fishing with Joe. And of course, you have gotta love it. Ooh, yeah. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. All the way. Way up underneath of those docks. Every single time. All the way back up in there. Another beautiful, fat Potomac River largemouth bass. All right, homeward bound. I noticed on one of the dock posts, somebody had left one of their baits. They had Texas rigged a, looked like a 6-inch zoom worm. Yeah, too bad they didn't have one of those venom twitch worms. That does twice what those other worms will do in these situations. If you've never fished them, try them. All right, back to work. Whoa, that bass is so big. I thought he was a freshwater drum. That's no freshwater drum. It's no freshwater drum. That is a Potomac River big boy right there. Look how fat that bass is. Yeah, I hooked into that bass and said, geez, feels like a drum, or it looks like a drum. He's just so pale in this muddy water. That is a heavy fish right there. Gosh, that is a heavy fish. Beautiful, beautiful fish. Just where I thought he would be, on a post out at the end of this marina. It's been a consistent pattern here on the Potomac. Find wood posts, docks in deep water, places where it doesn't dry up. when the tide is low, and that's it. You're gonna find big bass like that. Gosh, that's a good one. Oh, all right. Thank you, Mr. Fish. Whew. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Weldcraft makes the most reliable, durable boats on the planet. All welded hulls and heavy-duty construction are the reasons why. With over 25 years manufacturing experience, you can't go wrong. That's why it's the boat Joe chooses to reel in the big ones. If you want the hottest boat on the planet, you better quit playing. You better get to Weldcraft. Now let's get back to the fishing and fun.
All right, we're on the Potomac River. The name of the game is the tide. Now, high tide and low tide, and everything in between. The important thing is how do those fish relate to the structure as the water level begins to recede during the course of the day? Here's what I found was very, very important. You want to concentrate on areas that hold ample water to support those fish during low tide. A fish never wants to be left high and dry, and a largemouth bass is a homebody. He doesn't want to travel very far between the times when there's high tide and there is low tide. He doesn't want to have to travel a half a mile or a mile every day. He just doesn't. He wants a nice confined area that has everything he wants. I concentrated on posts that were in deep water that wouldn't be left high and dry when the tide was low. And that was the trick. The bait that I used was my favorite, this little venom twitch worm. Other guys were using other baits. They aren't nearly as effective as a leech style bait in these circumstances. Now, I took that bait and Texas rigged it with a small tungsten 3/16 ounce weight and a 2/0 wide gap hook. I want a small hook, but I want a big gap so I can land those big fish, get a good hook set. So keep watching. I'm going to catch even more fish and show you exactly how my theory works. Good one, good one. Oh yeah, it's a good one. Yeah. Oh man. That's a good one. That's what I'm talking about right there. That is a Potomac River bass for you. Oh gosh. These things just fight so incredibly hard. Gotta love that. Gotta love that. Just gobbled down that venom twitch worm. Gobbled it down. Gobble, gobble. Oh, man. Thank you, thank you. Whew. All right. Got my gloves wet on that one. I thought I was going to lose that fish. Little guy. He hit it big. There we go. Boom. There you go. If he's hitting it, I'm setting a hook on him like he weighs 5 pounds. Straighten my bait out. Yep, it's in good shape. All right. Oh, yeah. Yeah. All righty. Yeah. I'm gonna move this boat out. Just a little bit. Show this fish to you. Wow. Deep down on these dock posts. They like the outside dock posts for some reason. For some reason, they just love them. Don't know what it is. Another beautiful Potomac River fish right there. Another beautiful fish. All right. Oh, gosh. Gotta love that. All right. Thanks for watching today's episode of Fishing with Joe. Did a lot of dock fishing here on the Potomac. I know a lot of guys fish the weed beds, and I'm looking at the weed beds, but I'm just catching solid fish on the docks, so why quit? All right, so if you're on the Potomac, you know, try that pattern if those weed beds aren't working out for you. Some people ask me this question, and I get asked this question quite a bit. Why do you film your shows in advance? The reason I film them in advance, because of days like this when I'm dealing with a cold. And then it gets very cold in Ohio. So I always want to be able to put out lots of shows for you regularly. And during times when I've got good weather, I film lots of shows in advance. When I'm filming those shows, I don't even stop most of the time to do introductions and exits. I don't tell you about the baits. I'm so concentrated on fishing and catching fish that I don't do anything else. I wait until it's all over to tell the story. It's better to catch the fish and get it on film and tell the story later than it is to stand around telling the story and never catch the fish. So that's why I do what I do. And I'm glad that you enjoy what I do. So thanks for watching today's episode of Fishing with Joe. Hope you enjoyed the show and catching some fish on the Potomac River. I had a lot of fun. The next time you go to the Potomac River, take some of those little baits that I showed you. Go to areas where there is still ample structure and ample water at low tide and start catching lots of fish. I hope you catch a bunch. Catch one for me, and remember, fishing with Joe. You have gotta love it.